Toby comes to a gentle stop, signaling their arrival. We're here, the Fat Controller's office. Gadget gets up, stretching slightly before stepping off the train. He takes a deep breath and smooths out his uniform, trying to look as professional as possible for this bizarre meeting. Toby whistles cheerfully in response. You're very welcome, passengers. Let me know if you need a ride back. Gadget nods at Toby gratefully before turning toward the office door. He hesitates for just a second, then knocks firmly on it. The door opens, revealing a stout man in a round hat and neat suit. His face is stern but not unkind. Ah, visitors. Sir Topham Hatt adjusts his glasses, studying Gadget and Nazo with quiet curiosity. You must be the newcomers Toby mentioned. Do come in. Gadget straightens up instantly, suddenly very aware of how formal this guy seems compared to the chatty trains outside. Sir Topham Hatt steps aside, gesturing for them to enter his cozy office, filled with maps of the island, train schedules, and a large teapot on a desk. Please, sit. He motions to two chairs before closing the door behind them. Gadget sits stiffly, unsure what kind of controller protocol he's supposed to follow here. Sir Topham Hatt listens intently, his expression growing more serious as Nazo explains. When the story is done, he folds his hands on the desk and sighs deeply. Ah, Edward. He sounds almost disappointed, not angry, but weary. So he took you here against your will. Gadget watches him carefully. This guy clearly knows Edward well. Sir Topham Hatt's stern face softened slightly, a hint of sadness in his eyes. Edward was retired. He was supposed to be safe and cared for, resting at the old yard. He sighs again. I had no idea he could still move on his own, or that he'd bring passengers here without permission. Gadget frowns. So this wasn't just some random accident. Edward actively chose to come here? With them inside? Sir Topham Hatt leans forward slightly, his expression turning thoughtful. I see. So you are not the first visitor to arrive by accident, and Gadget is. He pauses, eyeing the visibly stressed wolf. Understandably overwhelmed. Then he nods slowly at Nazo. It has been some years since a human child wandered onto this island. I remember that day vaguely. Sir Topham Hatt strokes his mustache, deep in thought. Yes. A small child, you I suppose, came through a tunnel that opened unexpectedly. The trains were confused at first, but Toby and Henry took you to the harbor to wait for a way back. He looks between them. The portal closed on its own after a few days. No one knew where it led or how it worked. Until now. Gadget finally speaks up, his voice a little shaky from stress. So, this has happened before? And the portal just closes on its own? He looks at Sir Topham Hatt with desperate hope. Maybe there's a way back. Maybe they won't be stuck here forever. Sir Topham Hatt nods reassuringly. Yes, the portal always closes, sometimes quickly, sometimes after a few days. It seems to open randomly, but it always seals shut eventually. He steeples his fingers. So you should be able to return home soon enough. In the meantime, would you like some tea? You both look as though you could use it. Sir Topham Hatt pours tea into 2 cups, sliding one toward each of them. It always opens in the same spot, the tunnel where Edward found you. The portal is consistent in that regard. He takes a sip of his own tea before continuing. The odd part is how it appears. No pattern, no warning, just there one day and gone the next. Sir Topham Hatt sets his cup down, considering the question carefully. No train is needed. The portal will take you back without one. You don't have to be riding anything when it closes. He adds reassuringly. The moment the tunnel seals, you'll find yourselves right where you started, no matter how far along Edward had taken you. Gadget finally exhales, shoulders relaxing slightly. That's such a relief. At least we don't have to rely on some train schedule or hope Edward feels like taking us back. He picks up his tea and takes a grateful sip, still stressed, but not panicking anymore. Thank you for explaining that, Sir Top Hat. Sir Topham Hatt taps a finger against his chin, thinking. The portal usually lasts about 2 to 3 days, sometimes less, rarely more. He glances at the clock on his desk. You arrived today, so you likely have until tomorrow evening or the next morning before it shuts again. Gadget looks around the office, then at Nazo, thinking hard. Honestly, I want to see this island. It's insane that talking trains and cranes exist, Might as well explore it while we're stuck here. He shrugs, suddenly a little more excited despite his earlier stress. Unless you have something better in mind? Gadget's excitement dims slightly, reality sinking back in. Right. Yeah. That would suck if we missed the portal. He scratches his head, conflicted. I mean, I'm not super worried yet, we've still got time. But maybe we should just do something low-key? Like tour the harbor, or talk to Toby again? Nothing too far from where Edward found us. Gadget perks up, remembering the other trains. Oh yeah, there's Henry, the big blue steam train. And Gordon, he's fast but kinda snooty. Oh, and James is the green one. He grins a little, already more relaxed at the idea of meeting them. Yeah, that sounds fun. We can walk around and say hi to everyone while keeping an eye on time. Enquay. Gadget blinks, quickly correcting himself with a sheepish chuckle. Right. James is red, Henry's green, Gordon's blue. My bad. He stands up and heads toward the window to peek outside at the yard. Let's see who's out there. Spotting a few trains parked or moving around, he points excitedly. Ooh, that one looks like James. See his bright red paint? Gadget nods, spotting Toby chatting with another train, likely one of the others. Toby's still here. And hey, maybe that's Henry over there, the big green engine. He nudges Nazo toward the door. Come on, let's go say hi before they all disperse. Might as well make some train friends while we're stuck in this weird place. They step outside, the crisp island air greeting them. Toby spots them and waves enthusiastically with a small puff of steam. Hello again. Ready to meet the others? Nearby, Henry, the large green steam train, turns his boiler toward them curiously while James, red, whistled cheerfully from a siding. Toby waves a dismissive paw. Oh, don't you worry. We've got plenty of time for chatter. Trains like us always find moments to socialize. Henry rumbles in agreement, and James even leans over slightly to get a better look at them. James, new passengers? How interesting. James' whistle trills in delight, and Henry dips his boiler slightly in greeting. Ah, a return visitor, how lovely, Henry says warmly. And a first-timer? Welcome, Gadget. Toby puffs proudly. Nazo was just a little kid last time? It's been ages. James leans closer with playful curiosity. What do you think of us now? James lets out a soft, sympathetic whistle. Ah, childhood memories fade fast, don't they? Henry nods sagely. I suppose you were just a tiny human, hard to remember faces from that long ago. Toby adds cheerfully. Well, now you get to meet us properly this time. James straightens up proudly, clearly enjoying the attention. Well then, Since you're here, want a tour? I can show you around the yard. Henry chimes in. Or if you prefer something calmer, I'd be happy to chat over some tea. Toby grins. I can introduce you to Gordon, too. He's usually off working hard, but maybe he'll stop by later. Gadget looks between the trains, torn, but his eyes light up at James' offer. I think a tour sounds really cool. First time here and all. He turns to Nazo with an excited grin. Unless you want to do tea with Henry instead, no pressure. James perks up, steam puffing happily from his funnel. Wonderful. Hop on then. I'll show you the whole yard. He lowers himself slightly, making it easy for them to climb onto his cab. Henry gives a friendly wave. Enjoy your tour. Gadget climbs onto James' cab, sitting carefully beside Nazo. The red train hums to life, wheels turning smoothly as he starts moving. All right. First stop, the main shed where we all sleep, James announces cheerfully. The yard stretches out ahead. Other trains passing by or chatting idly in the distance. James pulls back into the main yard, coming to a gentle stop. And that's all of it. The shed, the turntable, the water tower, everything. He sounds proud of his tour guide skills. Gadget hops off, looking around with newfound familiarity. It was actually really cool seeing how everything worked. And he even remembered bits from Nazo's hazy childhood visits. James nods sympathetically. Kids don't get to see much, usually just the harbor or wherever they're dropped off. You probably only saw Toby and Henry back then. Henry, overhearing from nearby, adds, "Ah, yes. Children tend to stick close to familiar faces." Gadget looks around the yard trying to imagine tiny Nazo wandering here years ago. Man, it makes sense. You were just a kid. No way you'd explore everything. Just stuck with Toby and maybe Henry. James whistles thoughtfully. You've seen so much more now. The whole island. James puffs up proudly, as if the size of the island reflects on him personally. Oh, it is big. We've got tracks winding all over. Harbor routes, mountain passes, even a few secret spots. Henry adds, and that's not counting the towns and farms we serve. Gadget whistles lowly. This place was way more extensive than he'd thought. Gadget checks the time on his wrist, then looks around at the fading daylight. Portal's probably closing soon. We should head back to that tunnel before dark. Don't want to miss it. He turns to James and Henry. Thanks for the tour. We gotta go. Portal might shut any minute. James dips his boiler in understanding. Ah, right, portal business. Don't want to miss it. Henry adds kindly. Safe travels back, you two. Toby pulls up nearby. I can take you to the tunnel entrance, where Edward found you. Toby nods urgently, already chuffing steam. Hop on, I'll get you there quick. He lowers himself for them to climb aboard, wheels spinning slightly in anticipation. James waves. Good luck with the portal. Toby speeds through the tracks, expertly navigating toward the tunnel entrance. The air grows cooler as they approach, the same spot where Edward had taken them earlier. The tunnel gapes ahead, dark and quiet. No sign of a portal yet. Toby slows to a stop. Here we are. Now, we wait. Gadget's breath catches. There, deep in the tunnel, a soft glow pulses. That's it! That's the portal! He whispers urgently. The light flickers slightly, not fully open yet, but close. Any second now. Toby watches anxiously beside them. It'll expand soon. The light pulses brighter, stretching outward, forming a shimmering tunnel of energy. There it is! Gadget grabs Nazo's arm, eyes wide with relief and excitement. We're going home. Without hesitation, they step toward the portal. The world on the other side already visible through its glow. They step through the portal, and in an instant, everything shifts. The island vanishes behind them. They are back, standing right where they first entered, in the alley with Edward's tunnel gaping beside them. The explosion damage is still fresh, but no trains or cranes are in sight. Gadget blinks, disoriented. We're back. Gadget takes a deep breath, looking around at the familiar alley. Now just a normal, quiet street again. No talking trains. No Sir Topham Hatt. Man, that actually happened. He turns to Nazo, half smiling in disbelief. We were really on an island of sentient trains for hours. Gadget exhales, rubbing his face with one hand, still processing everything. That was the weirdest day of my life. And I fought Eggman robots. He glances at the tunnel one last time, half expecting it to flicker again. But nothing happens. So, what now? Gadget nods, suddenly realizing how exhausted he is, both physically and emotionally from the whole portal adventure. Yeah, food sounds amazing. I'm starving. He pats his stomach dramatically. And then straight to bed. No Eggman wars, no train islands, just sleep. They part ways, Nazo heading toward a nearby diner, Gadget making his way back to his own apartment. As he walks, Gadget keeps glancing at the tunnel out of habit, but it stays dark, just a regular alley again. Weirdest day ever. He mutters one last time before unlocking his door and collapsing onto his bed. Back on the island, gathered around the water tower, Toby excitedly recounts everything to the other trains. Nazo was here when they were tiny, and Gadget never seen this place before. James whistles in awe. A human visitor? That's rare. Henry nods solemnly. They seem nice. I hope they made it back okay. Gordon, usually aloof, actually adds quietly. Interesting. Emily, the polite blue train, pipes up. I wonder if they'll come back again. Duck, the yellow shunting engine, chuckles. Humans usually don't remember us long enough to return, but maybe this one will. Edward stays quiet, his boiler low. He feels a pang of guilt for taking them against their will. But at least they got home safe. The trains continue chatting into the evening about their unusual visitors. As night falls on the island, the trains settle into their usual routines, some heading to the sheds, others lingering by the tracks. Toby yawns, well, as much as a train can yawn, and rolls toward his resting spot. James gives one last whistle about Nazo and Gadget before powering down for sleep. Henry murmurs, "Good night. Hope they're safe." The island hums quietly, its inhabitants now carrying a new memory of two humans who briefly walked through their world. Little does Nazo know, as he climbs into bed, something very wrong happens. A shadowy figure, Diesel 10, a sneaky diesel train with a grudge against steam engines, had been lurking near the tunnel. The second Nazo fell asleep, Diesel crept in. Without warning, the diesel yanked him back through the portal. Back to the island you go, he muttered darkly before chugging away. Back on the island, Nazo jolts awake, not in his bed but inside Diesel 10's cab, rattling down a track. Wah! He scrambles to look out the window. The island is dark and unfamiliar at night. No Toby or Henry in sight, just trees whipping past. Diesel 10 cackled. Oops! Wrong passenger. Nazo bangs on the cab door, panic rising. Hey, what are you doing? Let me out! Diesel 10 just laughed, steam hissing from his funnel as he sped faster. Nope, you're staying right here. Steam trains don't get to keep visitors. They're mine now. The island blurred past outside. No sign of help in sight. Diesel 10 took a sharp turn onto a lonely siding, far from the main yard where the steam trains usually gathered. The area was quiet, just rustling bushes and distant owl hoots. Nazo's heart pounded. This diesel clearly had plans for him, and they weren't good ones. Why are you doing this? He shouted over the engine's roar. Diesel 10 ignored his shouts, focusing on navigating the dark tracks. After a few minutes, he slowed to a stop in front of an old abandoned shed, dusty and forgotten. Out, he ordered coldly. The diesel yanked open the cab door with his hook before Nazo could protest further, forcing him out onto the gravel. Nazo stumbled out, landing hard on the gravel. Before he could react, Diesel 10 slammed the door shut and quickly chugged away, leaving him stranded in the dark. The shed loomed ominously ahead. The air was thick with silence. No trains around to hear if Nazo screamed for help. Great, he muttered under his breath. Absolutely fantastic. Unseen by Nazo, inside the dusty shed, a shadow shifted. A small, tired figure stirred. It was a train, but not one of the usual kind. This was an old freight car with peeling paint, half buried in cobwebs. Its door creaked open slightly as it noticed Nazo standing outside, and its single headlight flickered on weakly. As Diesel 10 vanished into the night, Nazo cautiously approached the shed, curious about who, or what, might be inside. The door creaked open slightly on its own, revealing a dimly lit interior, and there, tucked in a corner, was another train. A small old locomotive with peeling paint rested quietly, its headlights off, seemingly asleep. Nazo sighed, deciding the train was the better option than sleeping on cold gravel. He crept closer and, hesitantly, climbed onto its deck. The locomotive didn't stir. It was clearly out of service, but it provided a somewhat dry, flat surface to lie down on. He curled up as best he could, shivering slightly in the night air. Nazo muttered bitterly to himself, staring at the shed's ceiling. Why me? Out of everyone on Earth, why do I keep getting dragged into crazy train adventures? First a magical portal island, now kidnapped by a villain Diesel. It was absurd. A cold breeze slipped through cracks in the shed, making his situation even more miserable. The old locomotive finally shifted slightly, not waking, but reacting to Nazo's weight. A tiny puff of steam escaped its funnel, almost like a sigh. Nazo froze, worried it would wake up and panic at finding a human on it, but the train stayed dormant, just breathing softly in sleep. At least he wasn't alone, even if his companion was unconscious. Slowly, cautiously, Nazo settled back down, keeping perfectly still to avoid disturbing the sleeping locomotive. The quiet hum of its slow breathing was oddly comforting. Outside, an owl hooted, a cricket chirped. The island night carried on, while Nazo lay there trapped in a stranger's shed with a random train. This is my life now, he whispered resignedly.